Hello, this is part 18 of our comparative Bible study on the beginning of Jesus Galilean Ministry. During this part, we would like to talk about the Apostle Matthew being called to the Lord Jesus. Overall, this is our 58th New Testament Bible study. As we have done in recent Bible studies, we are comparing similar accounts from the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. As we concluded the last Bible study, in all three Gospels, Jesus had just healed a man with palsy. Before we talk about Jesus calling the Apostle Matthew, I would like to begin this Bible study by comparing in all three Gospels how the multitudes responded to Jesus conducting this mighty miracle of miraculously healing this man with palsy. We have not yet read these verses or the last parts of this event, and it may even help us set the stage for when Jesus calls Matthew. In the Gospel of Matthew, we read, "But when the multitude saw it, they marveled, and glorified God, which had given such power unto men." Similarly, the Gospel of Mark reads, "Insomuch that they were all amazed, and glorified God." The Gospel of Luke likewise reads, "And they were all amazed, and they glorified God." So all three Gospels record they were amazed, or the multitudes marveled. Also, all three Gospels indicate that they glorified God. The Gospel of Matthew gives us a little bit more information in the narration. After stating they glorified God, it says, "which had given such power unto men." As stated earlier, this is just a little bit more factual information in the narration. The Gospels of Mark and Luke go on to tell us what they were feeling and what they were saying. The Gospel of Mark states, saying, "We never saw it on this fashion." And the Gospel of Luke states, "And were filled with fear, saying, We have seen strange things today." So apparently the Lord Jesus created quite a stir when he healed this man with palsy, who was lowered to him in a bed and ended up, after being healed, picked the bed up and carried it away to his house. He, according to the Gospel of Mark, went forth before them all. He was also, according to the Gospel of Luke, glorifying God. So it must have been an amazing sight, especially for the people who were there to say that they had not seen anything like this before. At least that's what it seems like they're saying. So this was the atmosphere as we transition into the next event, which appears to be the Lord Jesus calling the Apostle Matthew to himself. So let's look at the next verses in all three Gospels. To help with comparison, we'll try to go line by line as we have in previous Bible studies, or at least subpart by subpart. Before we get started reading, I'd like to point out in advance that the Gospel of Mark has some additional information with regard to location and the multitude resorting unto him and him teaching them. Who is the multitude that's being referenced here? Could it be the multitude that saw Jesus heal the man with palsy? Or they who said, "We never saw it on this fashion"? Okay, let's begin by comparing the first part of each of these accounts of this event. As a reminder, the verses in each of these accounts is immediately following the verses talking about Jesus healing the man with palsy. The Gospel of Matthew reads, "And as Jesus passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of custom, and he saith unto him, Follow me." As stated earlier, the Gospel of Mark has some additional information, but after that it reads similar to the Gospel of Matthew. "And he went forth again by the seaside, and all the multitude resorted unto him, and he taught them. And as he passed by, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the receipt of custom, and said unto him, Follow me." So one very noticeable difference between the Gospels of Mark and Matthew is that Mark speaks of Levi the son of Alphaeus, whereas the Gospel of Matthew speaks of Matthew. It should be noted that it was not unheard of for people, including apostles, to be called by different names in the Bible. For example, the apostle Peter was also known as Simon or Simon the son of Jonah, and he was also known or called by Jesus Cephas. Given the similarities in the series of events that we're now studying, Jesus healing the man with palsy, and then in all three Gospels, the very next thing that's spoken about is Jesus calling this man who was at the receipt of custom to himself. It seems not to be impossible that Matthew and Levi are the same person. The Gospel of Luke reading similarly. And after these things he went forth and saw a publican named Levi sitting at the receipt of custom. And he said unto him, Follow me. So we have this label, publican, assigned now to Levi. In Matthew chapter 10, where Jesus calls the 12 disciples to himself, Matthew is also referred to as Matthew the publican there. So these accounts seem to be matching up quite nicely. So what is a publican? Many refer to the publicans in Jesus' day as simply tax collectors, and they didn't appear to have a very good reputation. Similar to the Pharisees, the Lord Jesus also did not seem to speak very favorably of the publicans during the Sermon on the Mount. For example, there he stated, For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? Later in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus would go on to speak of the publicans as almost equivalent with harlots. There in Matthew 21, Jesus is going back and forth with the elders and chief priests and states, Verily I say unto you, that the publicans and the harlots go into the kingdom of God before you. For John came unto you in the way of righteousness, and ye believed him not, but the publicans and the harlots believed him. So why might have these publicans had such a bad reputation? Could it have been that some of them were taking more money than they were supposed to have been when they collected the taxes? As stated in the verses that we just read, the publicans had believed John the Baptist. So what was it that John the Baptist told them? In New Testament Bible Study 21, we read the following verses. In Luke chapter 3, Then came also publicans to be baptized, and said unto him, Master, what shall we do? And he said unto them, Exact no more than that which is appointed you. So here John the Baptist basically told them not to take any more than they were supposed to. As another example, in Luke chapter 19, there was a man named Zacchaeus, which was the chief among the publicans, and he was rich. After interacting with the Lord Jesus, Zacchaeus stood and said unto the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. At least from these couple of examples, it seems that taking more than they were supposed to was a concern with regard to publicans. Isn't it amazing how the Lord Jesus would call even publicans to himself, especially in the case of Matthew, who is an apostle? Even if Matthew were a good person and never took more than what he was supposed to, wouldn't it look bad for Jesus to have a publican as one of his 12 apostles, especially given the perception that people had of publicans back in Jesus' day? So far, Matthew is the seventh of Jesus' 12 apostles to be named in our Bible studies. Philip, Nathaniel, Peter, Andrew, James, and John being the other 6. You would think that based on human reasoning, that Jesus would have called maybe religious leaders to himself, priests, scribes, people of notoriety. Instead, the Lord Jesus has called at least 4 fishermen and a publican to be part of his 12 apostles. I think this is truly amazing. How did Matthew respond to Jesus saying, Follow me? And he arose and followed him. Let's stop here for now. Lord willing, maybe we'll have another Bible study in the future. Thank you for your time. If I got to share anything good, it's a blessing from God. Goodbye.